Hello, today I will be presenting on the topic the impact of climate change on ecosystem. This presentation will cover the characteristics of climate change as well as its impact on ecosystem in various aspects. The aim is to provide an overview and highlight the importance of issue. Background and significance. Climate change is a critical factor impacting global ecosystem characterized by rising global temperature, shifting precipitation pattern, sea level rise, and increasing natural disaster risk and aquatic ecosystem, including forest, grassland, mangrove, and coral reef face many threats such as change in species distribution, biodiversity loss, habitats degradation, and food chain imbalance. Understanding this impact is very important for sustainable natural resource management and planning. Causes of climate change. Causes of climate change. Climate change occurs due to natural process, human activity. The primary cause is the burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas, which releases greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. Greenhouse gas emission. Global situation. In 2021, global carbon dioxide emission rebounded to nearly pre-COVID-19 levels at 37.9 gigaton, only 0.36% over and in 29. Thailand's greenhouse gas emission 2023 energy sector 257,330.89 GGCO2 EQ mainly fuel combustion and agriculture sector 58,486.02 GGCO2 EQ crop cultivation and livestock. Industrial sector 40,118.14 GGCO2 EQ non-metal and chemical industry. Waste sector 16,703.68 GGCO2 EQ solid waste and wastewater treatment. Climate change situation. Rising global temperature. The decade 2011 to 2020 was made on record. 2024 was the hottest year record. Extreme weather event, increased frequency of harm wave, droughts, and severe flooding. Sea levels rise. Global mean sea level has risen more than 16 centimeters since 1901. Ocean precipitation. Ocean absorb excess CO2 causing increased acidity. Definition of ecosystem. An ecosystem refers to the interaction between biotic living and abiotic non-living components within a specific area, where organic depend on each other to maintain ecological balance. Example of abiotic component include soil, water, air, and sunlight. Components of ecosystem. Biotic components produce green plant, phytoplankton, and certain bacteria capable of photosynthesis. Consumer, the part that eat other living things. Primary consumer, plant consumer. Secondary consumer is herbivores. Tertiary consumer eat both herbivores and carnivores such as human. Non-living components, inorganic substances such as carbon dioxide, water, oxygen, and nitrogen. Organic matter such as protein, carbohydrate, and humus. Physical environment such as light, temperature, humidity, salinity, and pH. These non-living factors are crucial for the survival and balance of ecosystem. Importance of ecosystem. Environmental impacts. Regulate climate, water cycle, and nutrient cycle. Support biodiversity. Maintain an environmental health. Human important. Provide food and natural resources. Support economic activity. Contribute to cultural wealth. Based on the previously discussed point, the following section present the related research with detail as follows. Increasing frequent natural adaptation of rice farmer to climate change in Nam Kiang district Sisaket province. Introduction. Thailand has experienced increasing temperature and more severe natural disasters, including heavy rainfall, flood, landslide, and prolonged droughts. These changes directly affect agricultural products, particularly rice consumption. Population and sample. Population rice farmer in Nam Kiang district Sisaket. Population rice farmer in Nam Kiang. Sample size 370 outward sampling method. Population divided into groups by subjects. Sample selected. Preliminary data collection periods February to March 24. 2. Interview, questionnaire, data analysis, descriptive statistics, measurement of farmers' knowledge. Impact on rice cultivation, high temperature, reduced oils, free soil, moisture, high temperature causes a repeat decrease in water availability, low rainfall, slow down rice growth. Overall impacts: yield, slow rice growth, delay, flowering, poor tilling, incomplete grain reduced yields. Environmental impacts: plant disease with soil degradation, insufficient water supply, farmer adaptation, production technique, utilizing crop residue instead of burning, water management, digging well ponds, risk management, crop issue program, research, finding similarly. Impact of climate change, impact on natural, impact on soil, water, and air resources, change in rainfall pattern and distribution. Some river basins experience increased water availability and flooding, while others face water scarcity. Rising sea levels, altered climate conditions affecting soil quality, water balance, and atmospheric stability. Impacts on plant shift in plant distribution pattern. Impact on animal and living organisms. Ocean become firmer and more acidic, and great risk of species extinction, food shortage from ecosystem imbalance, decline in crop and livestock productivity. Climate change impact on rice production in Japan, Akov, Douglas, and panel data analysis. Introduction. Japan has limited arable and a declining number of farmers. As rice is the country's staple crop, it is essential to minimize losses caused by climate change. Key climatic factors affecting rice production include temperature, rainfall, wind speed, and sunlight duration. Effective management of these factors is necessary to maintain stable and sufficient rice yields. Meteorology data were collected from 46 prefectures in Japan, excluding Okinawa. Variables used in the analysis: rice yields, label, temperature, precipitation, sunshine duration, wind speed, technical progress. Data were obtained from the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fishery and the Japan Meteorological Agency for the period 1972 2020. A two-way fixed effects panel data model was employed to analyze the relationship between climatic factor and rice production. Research finding: temperature, initial show a positive relationship while rise is, however, once it exists a certain threshold is decline in skating in an inverted U-shaped relationship. Excessive precipitation leads to nutrient leaching and destroys, negatively affecting rice production. Sunshine duration has positive effect on rice yield. Wind speed has negative impacts, particularly in areas prone to storm or strong monsoon. Health impacts. Extreme heat increase the risk of heat-related illnesses and mortality, infectious diseases, rising incidence of vector-borne and waterborne diseases. Water-related impacts. Flood and drought contribute to water contamination affecting food safety and agriculture. Air quality increase dust verifies ground level ozone and air pollution contribute to respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. Extreme weather events, wildlife floods, storm, and heat wave negatively affect both physical and mental health. Climate change impact on house food security and farmer adaptation strategies. Introduction. Global warming and the increasing concentration of CO2 emission are projected to raise the global average temperature by approximately 1.5 to 4.5 degrees C by 2050. Sub-Saharan Africa is considered one of the most vulnerable regions, and more than 70% of its population depend on agriculture and natural resources for their livelihoods. In Ethiopia, rain-fed agriculture accounts for approximately 32% of the national GDP and is highly vulnerable to severe droughts, which are closely linked to food insecurity. Methodology, study area and sample method. The study was conducted in Aleta Shugo district during the 2017-18 cropping season. Sampling procedure. The district consists of 31 calibrate village. 3 villages were selected for the study. Selma Midland area, Shikoyama lowland area, Mirisha lowland area. Both quantitative and qualitative data were collected, including house quest nurture focus group discussion and secondary data from relevant government agency. The total sample size was 125 out determined using Yamane's formula with a 7% margin of error. Research finding. Household size has a negative effect on food security as larger households increase consumption prices and resource demand. Age of households has a positive effect, suggesting that older farmers possess greater experience and adaptive capacity. Farm size had a statistically significant positive impacts on household food security. Rainfall possibly affects agricultural productivity and improve household food security status. Linkages between ecosystem impact and human well-being. Impacts of ecosystem on humans. Overexploitation of natural resources driven by technological advancements, economic growth, and population expansion leads to environmental degradation. Effective resource management, such as applying the sufficiency economic philosophy, can provide sustainable solutions. Conservation and ecosystem restoration are essential maintain ecological balance and long-term human well-being. Stakeholder participation, stakeholder participation. Encourage active from communities and orientators, promotes awareness, understanding government agents, the private sector developer. Integrate plan budgets and human resource into starting frameworks, create initiatives to ensure public and private sector engagement, sought and support finding from both public and private source, establish shared indicators, and develop a comprehensive monitoring database. Linkage between ecosystem impacts and humans, monitoring and evaluation of conversion and restoration. Phase 1 monitoring will be conducted 2 years after implementation of the plan to assess progress and make necessary adjustment. Phase 2 final evaluation will be conducted and instead of the 5-year plan to identify challenges and of the second and to inform future planning. Monitoring mechanism. Establish a monitoring and evaluation committees pricing representatives from government agencies, academic institutions, the private sector, and civil society. Form subcommittees responsible for data collection and preparing progress reports every month. Encourage public participation in monitoring and accountability processes. Mitigation measures to reduce the impacts of global warming on ecosystem. Adaptation of natural ecosystem. Plan and adaptation. Conserve protected forest area using ecosystem-based management approaches. Establish forest connectivity through ecological corridors and buffer zones. Promote reforestation and encourage private sector forest plan detection. Support the conservation of endemic and endangered species and prevent the spread of invasive species. Establish monitoring network for high-risk wild area. Animal adaptation. Develop ecological indicator to assess ecosystem health. Expand protect area to support the mitigation of vulnerable species. Promote research on the impacts of climate variable on ecosystem. Encourage community engagement in living sustainably alongside natural resource management plan to support climate change adaptation. A case study of forest resource in the ลำตะคองวัดนครราชสีมา province. Introduction. ลำตะคอง watershed is a principal watershed of Nakhon Ratchasima province, serve both urban and peri-urban population. It covers 7 administrative districts and has a total catchment area of approximately 3,518 square kilometers, ranking as the largest watershed in the province. The watershed contains diverse natural resources, including water, soil, and forest resources, which are essential for local livelihoods and socio-economic activity. Effective resource management, environmental conservation, health mitigation tax. However, inadequate or inadequate management may increase environmental risks and negative affect the quality of life overall, a communist methodology. Forest resource data from 2014 to 2018 collect from Forest Resource Management Officer. As a database was developed consisting of forest source data table, forest sourcing data table, site selection, key criteria, study area were selected based on forest abundance and condition, area size, land use pattern. Community were chosen according to the level of forest richness and households that has reached in the community for more than 25 years were selected for participation. Research recruitment, semi-struck interview, field observation, research finding family participation at all levels, local government, community, and household levels, sustainable resource utilization, promotion of low carbon tourism, including ecotourism development, and encouraging the planting of perennial tree conservation, promoting forest conservation active, converting rare tea species and seeding and inserting conservation, rejection or officer annual comment restoration, increasing forest areas, water, community zone, and maintain forcing the decomposition, mitigating impacts of global warming ecosystem, human dispersion, carbon dioxide removal from the atmosphere, promotion, reforestation, and sustainable forest restoration is an effective natural-based solution for removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The use of direct air capture technology to capture carbon dioxide directly from ambient air is another important effort. An example of technology is the artificial tree or methane quality, which can capture carbon dioxide from the air approximately 1,000 times faster than natural tree. Mitigation of global warming impacts on ecosystem. Carbon dioxide removed from emission source. Carbon capture and storage. CCS, a process that captures carbon dioxide directly from emission sources and compresses it from long-term storage in secure underground geological formation. Carbon capture and storage (CCS) process that capture carbon dioxide directly from emission source and compress it for long-term storage in good underground geological formation. Carbon capture and utilization (CCU) are technology that capture carbon dioxide emitted from industrial source and convert it into useful products or utilize it in industrial process. Carbon capture, utilization and storage (CCUS) and integrate approach that combines CCS and CCU by capturing carbon dioxide from emission source, utilizing a portion of it for industrial application (CCU) and storing the remaining portion in source underground stock site. Increasingly frequent natural disasters. The frequency and intensity of natural disasters in various parts of the world have increased due to climate change. The frequency and severity of extreme weather events such as severe storm, major floods, flood, drought, and fires continue to increase, creating mimicking nature for to restore ecosystems in Basak watershed area and adapting to climate change of farmer Lakdan subdistrict Nam Nao district Phetchabun province. Introduction. The topography of Lakdan subdistrict and located in the headwater area of the Basak and Le river basins. Residential settlements are typically established near rivers and hills depending on the suitability of the region. Approximately 90% of the population in Lakdan subdistricts primarily engages in agriculture, particularly integrated farming as their main occupation. Their secondary occupation involves collecting non-timber forest product from forests. Meanwhile, about 10% of the population work mainly as laborers, government officers, or small-scale trade. However, agricultural activities in the community often result in financial losses and increasing household debt. These problems are mainly caused by the degradation of natural resources, including soil, water, and forest resources, as well as the impacts of global climate change. Methodology. This study employed an qualitative research approach. The research involved surveying and examining the basic characteristics of the study area, including the community context of the Basak River basin, such as topography, occupation, and agricultural practice in the area of field survey. In addition, secondary data related to the Basak River basin community river data were also collected from interviews with sample farmers as well as from relevant documents and previous research study. Research findings summary. The role family forest planning in the depend to the impacts of climate change can be summarized and follow. The role of family forest planting adapting to effects of climate change can be summarized as follows. Farmers select plant species suitable for the local growing condition. Family forest farmer system increase the diversity of plant and animal species within agricultural process which help distribute risks associated with climate change. Contribute to the conservation and restoration of forest areas around farmland, helping maintain land productivity and soil moisture in agricultural area. Family forest farming integrates local plant species including perennial trees, economics, trees, food crop, and medicinal plant, creating a balanced and sustainable agro ecosystem. Thank you.